There's a silent transformation happening in men who stay single for long periods. It is a powerful phenomenon that happens whether we like it or not, and here's what it is. There's a big misconception out there that all men want to be with a woman, that all men are just thinking about sex all day long. You know how the saying goes, a man's gotta have his fun. That may be true for some men, but for others, it couldn't be any further from the truth. In fact, I would say that most men don't really want to be with a woman. They feel a strong desire to do so, but they don't actually want to. If they were honest with themselves, they would admit that the idea of being in a relationship fills them with fear, anxiety and dread rather than excitement. Why? Well, for one thing, relationships require vulnerability. Men who are unable to open up emotionally are often better off staying single. After all, why would you want to bring someone else into your life only to disappoint them when they inevitably get hurt? Relationships also require compromise. And let's face it, many men are just too selfish to make things work. But even if a man is willing to compromise, relationships still require work, which means that both partners need to be fully invested. Yet again, many men simply aren't capable of this kind of commitment. They'd rather remain free to pursue whatever random fleeting fancy catches their attention next. Of course, this doesn't mean that all men are afraid of relationships. Some men are actually quite happy being single. However, these men are a lot less common than the other ones I mentioned earlier. Being single for a long time can cause a man to become bitter. He might start to believe that women are just gold diggers or that they are all just out to use him for his money. However, this is not the type of man that we are discussing today. The men that I'm talking about today are the ones who feel a deep sense of loneliness. They feel it at night when everyone is asleep and they're left alone in their thoughts. This is the kind of man that should be feared by society. Why? Because he is constantly evolving, always trying to be better. He is taking all the time he would have spent in a futile relationship and investing it into himself. And let me tell you, this is a terrifying prospect for a lot of people. You see, when a man realizes that he doesn't want to be with a woman, it's not because he has some sort of hate towards them. It's because he loves himself more. It pains him to think about how much time he could waste with a woman instead of working on himself. He knows that he doesn't want to settle down and have kids right now. He wants to focus on his career and achieve as much as he can. So he works hard and becomes successful. He makes a lot of money and gains respect from others. But being successful and having lots of money doesn't fill the void in his heart. A man who has chosen to be single will never truly be satisfied until he finds a woman who he can trust and open up to. For example, imagine a man who chooses not to have a girlfriend. He might have experienced failed relationships in the past, or maybe he just hasn't met the right person yet. Either way, he decides to focus on himself and his own happiness instead of wasting time with a partner who isn't right for him. This man might seem unapproachable or distant at first, but once you get to know him, you realize that he is a loyal and dedicated friend. He is also incredibly passionate about the things that he cares about, and he is not afraid to speak his mind. Although he might seem like an acquired taste at first, this kind of man is actually quite desirable to women. They appreciate his independence and self-sufficiency, and they are drawn to his strength and determination. However, this man is not looking for just any kind of relationship. He is looking for something real and meaningful. He wants to find a woman who he can connect with on an intellectual level and who can challenge him and push him to be a better man. He's not interested in superficial relationships or flings, and he's not afraid to walk away from a relationship that isn't right for him. This kind of man is rare and valuable, and women who are lucky enough to date him know that they have found a real gem. Women are visual creatures, which means that they tend to focus on the physical attributes of their partner. This is not necessarily a bad thing, as physical attraction is important for a healthy relationship. However, it does mean that women may not always see the true value of a man who has chosen to be single. They may judge him based on his appearance or social status and miss out on the opportunity to connect with him on a deeper level. This is unfortunate, as a man who has chosen to be single is likely to be intelligent, independent, and driven. These are all qualities that make a man attractive, but they are often overlooked by women who are too focused on superficial attributes. As a man who has chosen to be single, it's important to remember that you are valuable and that you have a lot to offer to the world. Don't let others define you based on your relationship status or physical appearance. Instead, focus on developing your mind and your character, and you will find that success and happiness will follow. You are not alone in your journey, and there are plenty of women out there who would be lucky to have you as a partner. I said earlier that women tend to look for certain traits in a man, such as physical attractiveness, wealth, and status. However, a man who has chosen to be single may not necessarily possess these traits, which may make him less appealing to women. This is where societal pressure can come into play. Women may feel pressured to date a certain kind of man, such as one who is wealthy or good-looking, even if they are not attracted to him. On the other hand, a man who has chosen to be single may not conform to societal expectations, which may make him stand out from the crowd. However, this same trait can be seen as a negative by those who are looking for a traditional relationship. It is important to note that not all men who choose to be single do so for the same reasons. Some may be waiting for the right person, while others may be focusing on their careers or personal goals. Ultimately, the decision to be single is a personal one and should be respected regardless of the reason behind it. While societal pressure may play a role in shaping people's perceptions, it is important to remember that everyone is different and has different priorities. A man who has chosen to be single may not fit the mold of what society considers a desirable man, but that doesn't make him any less of a man. In conclusion, a man who has chosen to be single for a long time is not broken. Rather, he is often highly evolved, having invested significant time and energy into himself. Such men are typically highly ambitious, disciplined, and self-sufficient. While some may view remaining single for an extended period as a disadvantage, it can actually be a strength. By remaining single, a man can avoid the potential pitfalls of a bad relationship and instead focus on achieving his goals. It is important to remember that not everyone conforms to societal norms, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. These men are often highly sought after by women, but they are careful about who they choose to date. Ultimately, a man who has chosen to be single for a long time is not broken. He is simply prioritizing his own needs and goals, and that should be respected. Now go ahead and smash that subscribe button and check out the best way to destroy a toxic relationship.